You know, there's a whole narrative about my community harassing people, but in spite of nearly 3 years of trying to track down the people actually doing this, I've yet to be provided a single piece of evidence of it actually happening. Hold on. This would be a lot easier for you if you didn't form your opinions based exclusively off the Twitter clips. That was literally cut off mid-sentence. Like, that's really weird to me. I don't understand. I think the vitriol certainly is mutual. I don't see an issue with being vitriolic. It's fine. If anything, you know, I'm working on maybe trying to be a little more vitriolic.
%0% of you are subscribed. Fix that.
Here, I'll ask you. Just follow through with me 30 seconds.
No,
then
I
we'll
don't.
be done.
I'm not an idealist. I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals that don't have any bearing on material reality.
That is. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on.
I'm not
wait, hold on. Wait. First of all, we're not talking
hypothetical situations where adults can molest children and it has a positive outcome.
You're the one talking. Wait, hold on. First of all, Marx was a philosopher. It's not idealism. Wait, no, hold on. Wait, you can't move away from this. Okay, hold on. I'm not letting you paint me like this and then run the fuck away. Wait, hold on. Wait, you have to stop talking for 1 second, okay? Hold on. So imagine, all right? Imagine aliens come down to Earth, and they say,
"This is absolutely ridiculous, Vaush."
You've lasted 6 seconds so far. Okay.
Imagine aliens. This is as hypothetical idealism as you can get. You're literally just like
you're like a honeymoon virgin. You gotta last longer than 6 seconds. Just give me a second, okay? Did I not let you talk for a long time when you were establishing your premises? Come on.
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals with you.
You don't have to. Then you don't have to talk. You just have to listen. You just have to listen. Okay. Now you can imagine a situation in which aliens come down to Earth and they say, "We're going to blow up the whole planet unless you kill this innocent kid." Now, in a consequentialist sense, killing that innocent kid.
To touch childish.
Right. I know. Right. So follow through. So in a consequentialist. I know an inability to grasp philosophy is one of my biggest issues with Luna. It makes sense that it would apply to both of you. This philosophy and idealism aren't the same thing. Those don't mean the same thing. You can Wikipedia them.
You're basing you're constructing hypothetical situations that have no bearing.
Hypotheticals aren't. Wait, do you think an idealism is when you construct a hypothetical? Do you think those mean the same thing? You're going to lecture me on dialectical materialism.
There's no
and you're struggling
point in having this discussion is my point.
Can you answer that question? Do you think idealism means when you construct a hypothetical? Have you read Capital? It's full of hypotheticals.
That has nothing to do with reality, and you think that gets you closer to the truth. That is idealism, because you are making the ideal conscious processes of thought your basis for truth.
Idealism is not when you.
My basis for finding truth.
I see the issue. You think idealism is when you think, which is why you don't. Listen, if you read Das Kapital, okay, you'll actually find hypotheticals. They're actually kind of ubiquitous. Look. Anyway,
they're grounded in reality, though. They're grounded in actual things that happen.
So just let's finish the point. We can move on if you let me talk for 10 seconds, okay? So in that situation, you could argue consequentially that the outcomes would be good to murder that innocent child because the Earth doesn't get blown up. Then, because the Twitter bit cuts me off literally mid-sentence, you follow on from that point to talk about how a rule utilitarian could have a categorical opposition to the murder of children in spite of that. The whole argument was one against the predation of children, but far-right people like to clip me out of context because it's easier than debunking me. That's it. That was it.
Okay. All right. That is idealism, though.
That's not what idealism means.
It is. When you think that you can find any truth that brings you, like if you use a hypothetical that's grounded in reality, then this
isn't what idealism means. It's not. You don't know what that term means.
Well, what do you think idealism means?
So do you mean idealism like in relationship to materialism in the dialectical sense, like dialectical idealism versus dialectical materialism? Because the Hegelian concept has nothing to do with the construction of hypotheticals.
Tell me what you think idealism is, Vaush.
The dialectical disagree. So first of all, idealism is a philosophical tradition dating back millennia. What you refer to as ideal, like, I don't know, there are like 20 different kinds of idealism depending on where you're pulling from. The juxtaposition usually posed against what Marx wrote was Hegelian dialectical idealism, which was the idea that social advancements, that ideas that human civilization was moved forward as a product of the antagonisms which arise in people's thoughts, as they have competing values and virtues which fight against each other, and you achieve synthesis, which is ideally an advancement of the idea, right, of the concept.
Okay, yes.
And Marx
Can I
is...
stop you for one moment?
Sure.
Can I stop you for one moment? Okay. So...
This is a Super Saiyan. And this is what is known as a Super Saiyan that has ascended past a Super Saiyan.
I'm not a utopian. I agree that it is dumb to conceptualize an ideal society and then
so when you conceptualize things with aliens and things that don't happen on planet Earth, that's a useless rhetorical strategy.
Oh my God, this is what you were running back to? No, okay.
Yes.
So, no. Let me explain. And please listen, this can be instructive, okay? There is a massive difference between framing your pragmatic advocacy for a political system based on a utopian vision of a future that you don't have material conditions to account for, and the construction of a hypothetical to illustrate the dynamics of a moral system. If you read Capital, I promise you, you will find hypotheticals that are very outlandish.
Hold on. Your whole thing, you believe that you can construct a moral system where you can, before
I didn't construct it. It's just rule utilitarianism.
You can't. The material conditions determine what is morally acceptable and what's not. When the French resistance were blowing up Nazis, that was okay because of the material conditions they were in. Right? Do you agree with that? But it's not always okay to just go blow people up.
No,
like there are certain material conditions where it's acceptable and somewhere it's not.
Those have nothing to do with each other. No, I'm not a moral relativist. Wait, do you think slavery was moral because back then people thought it was moral?
That's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying.
The material conditions of 16th century agriculture demanded the existence of slavery. Do you think that's moral then? Like, what?
That's my point. Is that it has? I believe my morality stems from dialectical. Like, so let me put it this way.
But dialectical materialism isn't a moral system. It's just an analysis of history. Those aren't
okay.
These are the people who criticize my philosophy, man.
Marx and Engels did not just sit around thinking, okay, like in their brains.
We're not talking about just sitting around. Wait, are you against the concept of philosophy? Okay, let me test your intuitive system then. Okay, let's hit it then. Is it wrong to hit a person?
It absolutely depends on the material conditions and the situation and the objective social relations at play. There's no universal answer to that question.
Okay, I agree. So one might say that
social relations, do I need to define that term?
Circumstances matter. Yeah, okay, so I agree with that. So let's say, okay, let's use an example where all of the cases are known. You said that I was too vitriolic to Luna. Why is that bad?
I said that you need to look at the evidence that it's being presented to you and consider whether you think it's bad or not.
And
I'm asking you to apply this kind of analysis to your own platform.
Well, I've done that, but you clearly think it was bad because otherwise you wouldn't take issue with it enough to talk to me about it. You think I've acted in error.
Because I saw evidence, which is that after you talked about her, not just once, but every time you've done a stream about her, I saw a huge uptick in people throwing racist, vitriolic shit at her.
Why is that bad?
That she doesn't usually receive on that scale. That's the evidence I presented to you.
Okay, why is that bad?
I was convinced by that. Excuse me?
Why is that bad?
Why is that bad? Why is that bad? Because a human being suffered as a direct result of actions that you performed.
Do you think that human suffering is always bad? What about when we shot Nazis?
I don't think that Luna, if you think that Luna deserves to suffer, do you think Luna deserves to suffer? Is that your point here? By being attacked by racists? Is that what you're saying?
You're the one who said that it was bad because a person suffered. So logically, I extend from that. You think when suffering happens...
Are you denying that it's bad that Luna suffered because racists sent racist vitriol at her?
I'm asking you your positions. Why was it bad?
I would say that it's definitely bad. Because it's promoting the racist system of white supremacism, which oppresses billions of people around the planet.
Why is that bad?
It is bad because we should seek to liberate all of humanity from oppression.
Why?
So the main point of Marx and Engels is to you realize that the main point of dialectical materialism and historical materialism is to free humanity from all class antagonisms so that we can finally begin writing history ourselves. That's basically the way that they put it.
Why did they think that was worth doing?
Because throughout modern history, or throughout history since class antagonisms arose, let's put it that way, human beings have been driven forward by oppressive relations with the means of production, and that limits humans and it causes a lot of suffering.
I don't understand these terms. You already said suffering can be good or bad. Limiting? What makes these things bad? I don't understand.
Okay, limiting oppression, giving people the ability to develop their own material conditions and to have the freedom to do what they want. That's what they talked about in
Why should people have freedom? Should people have freedom to murder?
Vaush, freedom to live. It
would be nice to have an ethical system you could apply to answer these questions, right?
No, okay. A person has the right. This is okay. Let's go back to the material conditions, all right? If you're being oppressed, right? If you're being oppressed and somebody is forcing you to work for them as a slave or a wage earner or whatever, that is a form of exploitation, okay?
Isn't that their freedom?
What is bad, excuse me?
Isn't that their freedom? You're talking about restricting the freedom of people to do unto others what they will.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're saying that you don't like it when people exercise their freedom to oppress others. You said you value freedom.
Vaush.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. The fact of the matter is that Marx and Engels believed that exploitation through class antagonism is not good. Do you agree or disagree with that?
We're talking about what I agree. I think I'm a Marxist, at least in some respects. But I have an ethical system that informs the reasons why I feel Marxism is worth following.
And what is that?
Rule utilitarianism. Or I guess some people say you can fold that into act utilitarianism. So let's just say utilitarianism. Fine.
But but there's no...
this isn't a matter of idealism. It's a matter of understanding why we fight for what we fight for. What you're arguing for is intuitive morality, which is exactly what leads to every goddamn pogrom and mass slaughter that's ever happened throughout history. When people post hoc justify what's right or wrong. Only the construction of and adherence to moral systems that you can understand can prevent that kind of stuff from happening. And it's why I'm hammering on it right now. I don't like it when you're laughing like, oh, hypotheticals, oh, thinking...
Material conditions will dictate what's acceptable or not. If... And the only way to... We have to... Okay.
Like, why are you against the concept? Do you think you're smarter than, like, all of, like, ethics? Like, the whole philosophy? Like,
no,
that's like the most complicated...
So, okay. If you are... I don't know how to explain this to you. Like you have to look at history, right? That's one way that's one way to look at it. So whenever people have been enslaved, if they rise up and use violence to liberate themselves, then that is probably acceptable because they had material conditions in which violence was being... Okay, so
the Nazis?
Rising up against the Nazis was acceptable, yes.
No. After World War I, the Nazis claimed that Jewish bankers were holding the country down through...
And that was false consciousness because that wasn't actually happening.
How can you tell?
That was false consciousness. They constructed a moral utilitarian rule that did not align with reality.
They were not utilitarian. Wait, the Nazis were not utilitarian. Careful with that. They were very, very not utilitarian.
The point is that their ideology was not aligned with reality.
How can you tell?
Because Jews don't actually control banks in the world.
There was a disproportionate number of Jewish control of banks in Germany during the Weimar Republic.
Maybe the Nazis had a point. Goodbye. This is that's all I need to hear.
Oh my God. I'm non-compete. Nazis had a point. I'd run too if I was him. Oh, that was good. God. I can't believe people in my community like that guy. Nazis had it. I'm not complete. Nazis had it. Nazis had it. I'm not complete. Nazis had it. Nazis had it.
Those kids molest children and have to